figure out what's going to happen to him. All right. With that being said, we move into our next segment, and what is that? Roster management, right? What don't you want to do on your roster? You don't want to roster Jonathan Taylor right now. No, because guess what? If you waste a first round draft pick on the Jonathan Taylor, second round draft pick, or third round draft pick on the Jonathan Taylor, guess where he's gonna be if he ain't playing in week one on the bench? So where he's gonna be giving you a zero. Like, come on, let's be real about that. This segment here is about how we're gonna manage properly. Okay, what that means is let's the draft. Now I know Coach said a while back that the new era of football is to draft receivers early now rather than the running back scenario. But there's a caveat to that. No matter what, there's always going to be a slew of receivers, so you will always have something to pick from. And when you want to do that, let's roster our team. Say you do the running back now. Running backs ain't as many as they used to be, right? And let's say based on where you are in the draft, you might be set up that you might be able to read 3-star running backs. Now, here's the crazy part about that. It can work. You got to be shifty with this roster. And you have to know players to the, hey, this is why Coach say watch preseason. Okay? This is why I say it, because some of those guys in the third, fourth stringers, they're gonna make it to the second string. Remember, 53 people on that roster, and some of those guys, and even early, they're gonna look really good. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to keep them. I'm just saying, if you're gonna go with a heavy running back set, just know your receivers, you're gonna be hitting that waiver wire weekly. I'm gonna tell you why. You got that first round pick, right? A good spot, right? That's 30 or 4, or let's say you're number 7 or 8, right? And let's say with that first pick, it's let's say Nick Chubb fell to you. No matter which one, well, let's say Nick Chubb fell to you between Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. Let's say one of them fell to you, right? You got your first running back. Now, everybody has jumped at quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, right? And come back to you all of a sudden, you see Derrick Henry and Austin Eckler. Now, Bijan is gone. Somebody's going to snag up Bijan. But you also have Kenneth Walker available. You also have Najee Harris available with that second, right? Bam. There go your second running back. So now you're like, okay, gotta get a receiver, gotta get a quarterback, gotta get another receiver, right? But then you're scrolling, and they come back to you again, right? Who's available low and another running back that you can take because, man, you won't hurt by taking them. Let's say Jamar Gibbs. Jamar Gibbs is sitting right there, just aching for the picking. Or Sam Pacheco. Like, that's your 3 running backs right there. Now, here's what we are going to do because we have drafted 3 running backs, right? We are sacrificing 4 rounds of wide receiver. You have to pay attention to that. We're sacrificing 4 rounds of wide receiver. Now, what does that mean? We need to be down here between the 50s and up or down looking for wide receivers. Or what we're going to do, we need them. We can go George Pickens because he's down there in the 50s. We can go Tyler Lockett. Or we can go Dak Prescott. We can, get a quarterback. So you got your 3 running backs and you got your quarterback. Now, right? You got to remember, trades are going to happen. People are going to get hurt. Other people are going to step up. You have to not be afraid to know you taking a quarterback. Your first receiver is Odell Beckham. You have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with your second receiver being Donovan Peoples-Jones. Then you got to be okay with your third receiver being somebody like a Rashad Bateman, Michael Pittman. Who else? You still got Jahan Dotson. You got Antonio Gibson. He's a and that's just if you don't go running back. You got Juju. You got Alan Lazard. There's some receivers there. Now, here's what I'm saying. You have to be okay with that because if you have the Saquon, you have the Derrick Henry or the who was the other one? Derrick Henry or the Derrick. or the Austin Eckler, right? Or the Najee Harris of the group. Or if Taylor or Jacob decide, you got one of them, right? So let's just say those are your three. You have to understand you're gonna be in the bottoms of receivers. But here's what I say about the bottom. Look for those guys that have the promise for a touch. Like they'll get a touch. They have that camaraderie with their quarterback that even if they only get 3 catches, that one of them they could turn it into 50 yards and a touchdown, right? But that puts you at least 11 points. Right? Anything above 10 points, 10 points and up from your receiving core, because you got the running backs that are gonna put up your big numbers, right? You got the quarterback that at least if your quarterback is getting you 250, again, 240, 235, 220, even 188, but 3 touchdowns, because he rushed one. Somebody that's going to give you some touchdowns. It's okay that your running backs are only getting 3 for 8 or 3 catches for 50 yards. If the touchdown is not, that's fine. But at least they're putting points on your roster, okay? Because why? You did go running back heavy with 3 running backs. It's going to happen. And you will hit with one of those receivers, okay? It's going to happen. It's just, you cannot look at, if you come in with a strategy, don't fold because your strategy, something got taken. You have to understand that within your strategy, you're going to lose a lot. It's half of what you think is going to be there they'll be gone in a blink of an eye because you skipped over. You got to remember, you skipped a lot of players because you're ready to go for another running back, okay? Same thing if you went heavy with receivers. You ain't getting none of those running backs. We are not in a running back heavy league. I don't know. This is going to be tricky this year. Like again, let's bounce off Teddy. He said he want to start with Patrick Mahomes, buddy. Look here, do it because if you can get Patrick with that first one, I would go running back with the second pick, and then I get my receiver with the third pick. And if you can get it on the turnaround, that just makes it even fancier for you. It makes your choices a lot better, especially if you got that 8th pick or that 10th pick. No, that's not that 8th. Especially if you got that 10th or that 12th pick. Okay, got to make it sexy on the turnaround. I personally, I'm a board manipulator. I'll draft players and then I'll flip the board on everybody. Like, oh crap, he did that. Because I want to see who chases. If you chase what I did, you're in trouble because I know what that does. See, here's the thing. Coach can go ahead and lay out some tips for you. Coach ain't playing. I'm playing through y'all. Let's remember that. I'm gonna give you some tips. I'm a board manipulator. Okay. I don't draft by value. I draft by what the hell I want because I know what I see on the field because I watch football every damn week. You understand what I'm telling you? I watch football all my life. I know what I'm doing. So when I look for players, I look for players for what I want. Okay. If they're in that top 10, I know what to take out the top 10. You know what pick I hate the most is pick 5. I hate the 5th and the 6th pick because it's almost like back in draft days, you were forced to take something you just didn't want. If something from that top 5 didn't fall to you. You know what I mean? Prefer, if I'm not in that top 5, I prefer to be that 9th, 10th pick. Get me back down there because you can have so much fun in board manipulation down there. I usually, if I'm at the bottom, especially if I'm 9 and not 10, I like to go running back receiver and then come back around to do receiver running back. But I'm a board manipulator because I flip the switch on quarterback quick. I do it all the time. And when I do that, it's absurd. I think it's in the 4th or 5th round where I started doing that. And then you just see a trickle of quarterbacks, tight ends, kickers, defense. Just ridiculous crap come out of nowhere. Yep, thank you. I think this is all I need to see. Why? Because when I come back around now, everything I want is going to be double. Double receiver, double running back. Double receiver, double running back. Why? Because I'm not picking anything else outside of a backup, a kicker, and a defense with my last 3 picks. So I'm just doubling up on everything else about rounds 10 through 12. Or no, I should say 6 through 12. Excuse me. So when you roster when you're rostering your managing your roster, okay. 0-3 heavy running backs. It's a sick thing to do, but it can work if you know what receivers you can take late. Okay. That is the part you have to pay attention to. Here's the other part you have to get rid of in order for it to work. Tight end. You better not touch that tight end until it's just crap left and you just throw somebody on your team. Here's why I say that. They're gonna still touch the ball. I have yet to see a tight end give a 0. I've seen more higher tight ends get a 0 because the ball went a different direction than the lower ends because why? Garbage time. I get it. Sometimes it's only 5 points, sometimes it's only 6 points, but crap. I mean, it's not but 3 tight ends that's really getting you over 15 points anyway. So what are you really stressing about for a tight end? Yes, that guy can get kicked off to the back end if you're going running back heavy early in your first 3 picks. Okay, that because again, to those first 3, you got to dig deep for those receivers. Because remember, unless you're coming off the flip like 9 or 10 pick, but you're not seeing a pick for a while. Okay, it's going, especially if you're number 1. Don't get me wrong. What is it? That 11th and 12th pick is yours, but no. You don't get picked to 20, I think 19, 20, some crap like that. Like, yeah, it's only for that first pick after that first pick. So you have to have a game plan. Look, if you do mock drafts, let me not beat up on mock drafts. If that's what you do to prepare, it's fine. I've never known the mock draft to help anybody. And don't listen to those fantasy grades. Okay, don't listen to that. Look, you only get an A+ if you draft everybody from last year. You understand that? That's stupid. Why would you do that? No, I even had a fantasy league when I was in with some people. And it was weird. One dude used to actually draft everybody I drafted to year plan. Like, buddy, you're not gonna win. If you looked at my roster inside of Todd Gurley, there was nobody else on my roster that I had. No, I'd have moved on. That's the thing about fantasy, buddy. What you do the year before does not guarantee you that this year. However, if you're a consistent player that shows consistent numbers, it's what ranks you high until you start to see the decline in the numbers, okay? Or even in the ability. Or let's say the player can't speak, they're just now on the run where they're getting injured. I forgot who it was. I heard somebody hamstring got pulled. Ooh, then I find out who you are. You might be dropping down in my rankings because once that hamstring go, people, it ain't coming back. That's a 4 to 6 week injury every time you rip it. So that groin, once them two go, you're gonna be injury prone pretty much for the rest of your career until you stop playing. All right, so managing our roster. Let's go to the bench, right? Because we already know it's quarterback. It's 2 wide receivers. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, flex, kicker, defense. Okay, unless you play in a 3 receiver league like Yahoo, which I hate so much, or if you play in a super flex league, or if you play in a 2 quarterback league, I think it's called, or none, it's the same thing as super flex. But other than that, it's your standard roster. It's your quarterback, your 2 receivers, 2 running backs, tight end, flex, kicker, and defense. And then on your bench, they added the IR spot for your players. So you can keep them on your team without having to drop them, which I think is really cool. If you know a player is that really good, it's that good, they got hurt and they're going to be on IR for 4 weeks. I love the fact that you can keep that player. Big ups to fantasy football for adding that piece to the league. So you have your backup quarterback spot. You have 2 to 3 receiver spots, 2 to 3 running back spots, tight end spot. You go backup, by the way. I think there's about 8 or 9 backup bench spots, I believe. I don't have a roster in front of me to see, so I'm kind of guessing. So what I like to do is, here's how I like to have my roster managed. Because if I don't pick a quarterback early, I'm not picking a quarterback, honestly, until the last, pretty much, or my last 3 picks. That's literally going to be my starter. Okay, but that's fine. There's going to be somebody like Kirk Cousins. It'll be somebody like Derek Carr. Okay, it'll be somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo. That's fine. Daniel Jones. They're going to let Daniel Jones go a little higher. There's a lot of quarterbacks. It's 32 teams. Okay, it's 32 teams and only up to 16 fantasy leagues. Okay, so again, you got to understand there is a quarterback. You don't have to have a Herbert, a Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. What you need is 250-something yards and 2 to 3 touchdowns. That's easily 20 points. Okay? Unless you really just bonuses again for consecutive, or not consecutive, for completed passes, by the way, for every 5 complete passes, you give them either half point or 4 point. I everyone do that. So other than that, 250 and three touchdowns, bro. That's fine. That's a good 20 points from the quarterback. Okay. But you don't want 12 points. You don't want somebody that can't score. You don't want Russell Wilson. I drafted Russell Wilson last year. Well, no, I had Herbert. I'm sorry. No, but I know I did have him in another league. I was running 7 leagues last year. I had him in the league. He did me so dirty. Golly, he did me dirty. Herbert he didn't even have a good year last year. And I had him again. I gave up a 4th-round pick for Justin Herbert. And that did not look it just wasn't what I wanted. I tell you that. Because there were some games where I had a lot of 12s and 8s from Justin. Yeah, he got hurt last year too. So he's dealing with wrist. I have a quarterback on my roster who's my starter who's dealing with broken ribs. Like, thanks, fantasy gods. Hey, baby, that's fantasy football, though, man. And guess what? He's playing. What do I look like pitching? Right? You gotta play him. He's coming on the field. He's throwing the touchdown. It's just, hey, man, it was ugly for a while, and nothing you can really do about that. But so what I like to do is if I do have a quarterback early, then yeah, I'm not drafting another quarterback, or I'll draft one later. I try to fill up my bench with as many receivers and tight ends. I mean, receivers, running backs, and stuff off the team. That's pretty much once I get my starters, I'm just flooding the bench with receivers and running backs. Okay, I'll get my quarterback later. There's 2 spots still open. What? The defense and the kicker. Again, I'm not doing that till the last 2 picks, right? Out of my last 3, it's a kicker and a defense with 2 of them, right? So all those picks, right? After I've drafted 2 running backs, 2 receivers, maybe a quarterback. If not, I might have drafted a tight end. Okay, so that means I probably went up and got a hockey, or again, guys, Pat Frammer. I'm not moving him up in my rankings because I still have so many other players above him. But for tight end purposes, he is what I'm saying is his value for me. I can't bump him above. I can't even bump him above Pitts due to Pitts' abilities that we still haven't seen yet. You have to. I hate. Nope, this is my show. Pat Furmer is above Kyle Pitts. When we get to the rankings, we'll make that move because I am really high on this kid, and I think he's going to put up plus 10 points a game. That's why. So if I can't get them top 3, I can deal with. You got to understand, there's a drop off in tight ends, right? There's a slight median. In fact, is that median right now? Okay, yeah, I think before it was Higby. At one point, it was Gesicki for a little bit. So there's always that slither guy that just kind of get in there as a tight end. This year, it's going to be Pat. All right, you get Pat on your team at tight end with your 6, 7 picks, you'll be fine. Absolutely. And then you just flood the rest of your bench rosters with all your with better valued receivers and running backs. Trust me, trades going to come out the wazoo because half of them guys on your bench won't play for you because you have your starters, right? But you're going to see that bench like, yeah, why? It's the first 4 weeks. Everybody's scoring in that. Every 3rd and 4th receiver from these teams are going to eat in the first 4 weeks because defenses are not ready yet. That's the issue, okay? They're never ready. It takes time for the defense to get that win under their feet. All right. So for the first 4 weeks, those nickel corners are getting dusted. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Last but not least, right? When we're rostering, it's okay to know that about 3 to 4 of the people on your bench, they go. Okay. Here's what I mean. Even some starters. I'm drafted. You cannot be ashamed to drop your starter. I'm sorry. Let's suppose the fool pick him up. You know what? If they're panning out for him, you alone don't have the time to wait for somebody like that. Okay? Because if you're 1-5 or 0-4, like, dude, if he's not doing what he's supposed to do in the games you expected, you have to put in the guy on your bench that keeps putting up 26 points. You got to put him in sooner or later. How long are you going to keep waiting for your starter? You got to know when to cut ties, okay? For me, I wait 4 weeks. Even if I don't like what you did the first 2 weeks, hell no. I'll put you on my bench if I'm not ready to drop you yet. Maybe there's something there. Maybe the defense, I didn't catch it, the defense he played was really, really tough in the beginning because there are some that you start off pretty rough that'll come out real good. So there could be issues that just innate in certain things that from keeping players from getting points. All right. There is a time frame where you gotta be like, hey, is that you gotta go. Okay. So just keep in mind those bench players, they're interchangeable. Okay. And sometimes you can drop a player, keep him go back. The many times I done dropped Madison and brought him back. Why? I took. He stay healthy, right? So I'm back and forth with Madison. I don't have to keep him on my bench. I can know certain leagues you may have to. Certain leagues, I can ride him on the bench because there's another running back I can use right now this week. And that's another thing, guys. You gotta, not your starters. You don't want to do that too much with your starters. But the boys on the bench, you gotta be able to know. Oh yeah, I'm dropping you next week. I'm dropping you this week. I mean, you good, but I need that guy. He's showing out now, and nobody is looking at him. And I see what he's doing, and I need him. It should be basically. You can drop him and pick up another tight end so nobody else gets him. Right now, you got 2 tight ends to interchange because why? That bye week is coming, right? And you can't afford to lose that tight end that's starting. Picked up a backup that is eating good, right? Hey, that means any other week you good on tight end. It's okay to do that late in the season. Don't do that early. Don't do that early. The tight ends pick up later. So guys out for stuff like that, okay? Keep your eye out for it. Is it okay to have a double kicker on your roster? Yes, that's why it's okay to have those type of roster droppers on your team that you can drop and pick up. For instance, right? If you got a good receiver who's on your team, like a rookie, right? He's sporadic every week, but you want him on your team when you need him. But let's say bye week is coming, you got that kicker. Again, I never say draft kickers early, but if you got a great kicker, sometimes you can't drop him, right? That means you drafted him. You don't have to have a great kicker early to get a great kicker. Okay. Follow my methods of what I mean by getting a great kicker. You find those teams that run the ball or like to score within once they get over that 50-yard line because they do know what kind of kicker they have. Look for those guys. You don't have to get them early. Y'all know what I mean. But what I'm saying is that don't mean you need to drop his ass just because that bye week came up, dude. That's where you drop a droppable player and you go pick up a backup kicker. So now when that bye week is here, you can sit him, put in that backup kicker. Same with the defense. Don't draft early, but if you got that defense, you can't because they eat for you every week because you were smart and you listened to coach. You just waited to the end of the draft and let's say you drafted the Cowboys. They're on a 4-week, 15-game blowout streak. They getting 15 points on defense for 4 weeks straight. That's what you want. I told you they're going 9-8 this season. So again, 4-game streak where they eating. It doesn't mean that they're blowing teams out. What I'm saying is they've accumulated 15 points 4 weeks straight. That's what you want. And let's say they got a bye week coming up. You don't want to drop the Cowboys defense. So you drop the whole player, pick up a backup defense, so you can play them in when the Cowboys need to go out. Cowboys come back in, you drop that defense, pick up that droppable player. You just come on, gotta have a method. Gotta know what you're doing. Never freak out about dropping a player if you know you can pick him back up. Just because he's on your roster, it does not mean another team wants him. Okay, other teams may be more concerned about trading, or you're more concerned about filtering your roster properly. Okay, waiver wire. Okay, be that guru in the waiver wire. Know that these players have value at some time of the season, and just pay attention to it. Okay, so enough about player management. Now we got.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.